without any further ado, I am going to bring from behind the curtain the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Imminent Rain, Luke Mason. How are you doing, good brother?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man, I absolutely. I'm going to grab your mic here and I'm going to turn it up just a bit. But it's such an honor. Folks, I got to tell you, when this guy decided initially to make music, to tell the story of Prometheus Rising, he reached out to me and he said, he talked about how, and Luke, we'll let you talk about this, but he talked about how Prometheus Rising had moved him, had touched him, and he felt like it's what we needed. And he said, he's got these talents. He's skilled at music. And you know what that can mean? That can mean a lot of things. It's like with dealing with my artists back when I was working on Born Guilty, and I had people show up and they're like, I can draw pretty well, and then they could draw like stick figures. This guy showed up, and this was, I've talked about it a lot, and I'll continue to do so. This was absolutely top tier, and so exciting to have Luke with us now. His music is right from the very beginning. I said, sounds like Iron Maiden. I mean, it sounds like there's a whole band, many different minds that have been working on this. And then what many people don't know is that you have a great band, right, Luke? And then you still have all of these other people that a label will hire to help the band produce great music. Here you have a guy doing this by himself, magnificent musician, magnificent storyteller, and vocals that are just in the new song, which we will be playing for you folks. Absolutely over the moon how astounded I was. We all, as a community, we really have to give a great big round of applause to Luke Mason for what he has contributed, because Western kind is infinitely better off in our effort to secure our well-being, because Luke Mason has shown up in the 11th hour of our people's existence. Brother, I can't say enough about you. It is so magnificent to have you here. Let's start off with just maybe any first thoughts on your mind while we have you with us. And what was it like yesterday when you premiered this song? We've been waiting so long for song 6, folks. I was ecstatic. I was so everybody, and Luke, I got to tell you, I don't know how many people are able to reach out to you. They know your contact info or whatever, but I have obviously quite a few who know my different means to communicate with me. And a slew of people were immediately writing me, and they were the rest of the night about, oh my God, the song and the all of the images in the video. They couldn't say enough. So brother, what was it like having that premiere on your channel yesterday?
Oh man, it was very, very healing and very validating. It's really weird, the stark contrast between being like the black sheep of my family because I'm loyal to my race, and then being treated like an absolute rock star in this community. And it just warms my heart, and I feel like I'm home, when I'm with this community. And also, the folks in White Art Collective have been really, really good to me, like you have, and supportive. And also, even though I've been through some dark times recently, going through some pretty gnarly family stuff, I've got some brothers here in my home city, and they've been taking care of me and just like, checking on me. And I have like pretty regular fellowship with these dudes, and just all of it. I've got some really good friends in the White Art Collective too, For Noel, Alma Lahar, Jeff has always been really great to me. Everyone, Handsome Horse, Mama P, so many, and even people that, that aren't connected with that as much, but I see them and I talk to them. Dave Martell,
yeah.
I kind of reached out to him, and he actually took a lot of time and care, just trying to like help me sort through things as I was going through them. And he's been really cool to me. And some other people in his sphere that also are into metal that I've run into, Pagan Opera, that dude's awesome. I've been very blessed And I just don't know what to say. Like, you know, my family doesn't even like metal. So it's wild, you know. It's like I feel like I'm the ultimate bad guy when I'm around them, but I feel like a hero when I'm around this community. So it's pretty interesting, to say the least.
Well, you know, we can't, and this is just one of the realities of our existence. We can't choose our family of origin. We find ourselves there, and they might be anti-white. They might be they might just villainy signal anti-whiteism. But that's where we do. A lot of us end up running into the conflict, and we also families that we choose, that we make, we become a part of. Those families, sometimes they're started before we're going free, or sometimes the person that we're with has misrepresented themselves. I've seen that. Sometimes the person changes over time. The other person, member of the family, partner, decides that, well, society is so anti-white, and then now this can't happen anymore. You just have to be anti-white. We have to go with the flow, and then they use every rationalization under the sun. But when we choose the community of folks that we're going to be in, and that is a totally different affair. When we decide that this is where I want to invest my time, this is where I want to put my talents, this is where I want to feel fulfilled, that's a totally different thing. And that's where ultimately you can't go wrong, because you can believe that you're going to be fulfilled in a croquet club, but once you're there, if you don't feel fulfilled, you can leave and find someplace else. And there isn't that drama, there isn't that static as there is with family. So you are, I'm just quite frankly, you are one of the gods in absolutely the white well-being sphere, the white positive sphere. We love having you. It says a lot about your character. First off, that you read through Prometheus Rising, you felt what you felt, the messages you wrote me early on about the way it made you feel, the way you saw it serving our well-being, was really coming from a heart of love, a heart that wanted to do no harm to others, but wanted to protect our people. And that resonated, of course, with me when I read that. That's the kind of people we want. And then your decision, so that is a huge thing. And then your decision to persevere, even though you have some challenges going on in life, and then your family doesn't even like metal music, and that's what you just are God at creating. I mean, you're definitely at home with us. You're definitely at home and loved and cherished and appreciated here for who and what you are at your very core. And we've had Fornall on last week. I feel the same way about him, and so delighted. So maybe let's, you are without question, you're just like another musical genius. And it is, and your talent with singing. And folks, you're going to hear this. If you missed it yesterday, if you missed the premiere yesterday, you have not heard vocals. You thought I was kidding when I said that this guy would, if the world wasn't anti-white, he would have a castle house and the giant pool in the back and the Lamborghini in the driveway. Absolutely, without question. The fact that he doesn't is just a testament to how anti-white the world actually is. They don't want great rock, great metal music. They don't want it out there because it could impact it. It doesn't even have to say to white people, be white positive, just by giving white people something else that's not anti-white. That they don't want that. But you read Prometheus Rising, and then you came to the conclusion that you wanted to create this album, 9 songs, and he's been sticking with it too, folks. And that's another testimony to the integrity of a person. He decided he wanted to make 9 songs to tell the story, to bring folks over, use his talents for good. And instead of just selfishness, instead of self-aggrandizement. And that is really saying something. So what was that process like for you, brother? And how did you read Prometheus Rising, you decided you wanted to do this, and how did you feel, and what are the talents that you decided to marshal? Because It's one thing for somebody like me who is absolutely ignorant about how to make any of what you're able to make magic with. So what exactly is it like? You have an assortment of talents, and you say, I've decided I'm going to bring these talents. How does the process begin, and how did it go from I'm just making rock music because it's what I do to I'm going to make an album telling the story of Prometheus Rising?
Well, it's been a long journey. I used to be a horror metal artist. Before that, I was actually like a God. I mean, you compliment me so generously on my musical skills, but I have to be honest that a lot of it comes from the fact that I've just had so many great teachers. I went through the commercial music and jazz studies program in college, and my wife is a choir teacher, so I've had some unfair advantages as far as like learning how to sing, learning how to play music theory. But I was doing the horror metal thing, and I actually had like a CD release deal with a little place in Greece for a while with my horror metal outfit. And then when I became aware of that the system had been lying to me my entire life about saying, they told us that race isn't important, don't pay attention or care about that at all. And I found out it was a lie, and I got really like red pill rage, I suppose you could say, and went off the deep end and kind of did some stupid things and went a bit too far and doxed myself and got deplatformed, and it kind of ruined my horror metal project. And then I tried to do the same thing, for a while using alternative platforms and had just no success with that. And then I was like, okay, maybe I need to stop being the bad guy, and I'll try to just like, make some good rock music that isn't anti-white. And that's where Imminent Rain came up with. That's where it came from. And then this dude named Syntheside contacted me on Minds, and he says, dude, you got to get with the White Art Collective. And he's the one who introduced me to Jeff Winston. And, from there, I was kind of floating around in that circle for a little while. And then I heard one of your videos where you were lamenting the fact that a lot of our music in our bars and pubs and clubs has been changed from, it used to be this glorious, like, totally Aryan Chad rock, where it was okay to be alpha and okay to be white and okay to be male. And yeah, sure, there was a lot of degeneracy that went along with that, but it was just the aesthetic of that rock was so much different than now. It's like, God, how do I say this without just sounding like a jerk? But it's a lot of hip hop and a lot of music that has been really dumbed down. Like it always stays in the same key, or the melody only has like 2 or 3 notes, 2 or 3 pitches rather. And so, I heard you talk about how it was really sad, and I was like, wait a sec, I think Jason would like this song. And that's when I sent you the, This Coming War of Ideas. And yeah, you picked up on it, and I was like, yes, finally, I found someone who is on the same page with me aesthetically, And then I was like, I was listening to you, and I came from like the extreme kind of Wignat, like I kind of skipped all the like soft propaganda or softer kind of approach stuff, and went straight to like, like the first book I read was Might is Right. And that's like super hardcore, super vicious. And so I missed a lot of stuff, And then when I heard you were talking about, with his Garapi, his wife was saying you were a shape-shifting ghost, which I still laugh at. I still love that little meme there. I wish I could be a shape-shifting ghost sometimes, but anyhow, yeah, I saw you on that, and you were talking about like the reality of of a Civil War kind of scenario, and how it's so much different from what we see in the movies. It's, you know, like real life is really disappointing compared to Hollywood. You know, it's just not the same thing. And sometimes you just have to grow up and accept that, you know, like you said, I think it was something like, you know, a little plucky band of revolutionaries is not going to take on the government of the system. And that was hard for me to hear, dude. It was hard for me to hear at the time. And it's still hard for me because I'm like a super imaginative guy, and I like to escape from reality every chance I get. So, you know, I'm just one of those dudes that's like always been a little weird and always been like, you know, in his head a lot of the times, head in the clouds. So it's hard for me to come back to reality and accept like, okay, this is, you know, and that's what the Prometheus and the White Wellbeing is to me, is it's like, it's a mature, grown up approach to, you know, reclaiming our destiny as a people versus like, you know, something that we do in our imaginations, like we want to cope and we want to say, you know, oh, well, things will get better when they're worse. And it's like, no, they're just going to be worse if that happens. So, and the other thing is like, as a father, I'm a father of 4, you know, and I just can't jump on board with the destroy civilization because I love civilization. I love these things that our people have built. And frankly, without them, I couldn't be a musician. You know, I would be fighting brigands to protect my family and, you know, protect my property if it wasn't for that. So, I mean, I love civilization. And when I read Prometheus Rising, it really spoke to me on a deep level because even through all like the hardcore Whignattery and all that antique nationalism that I was submersing myself in, I did have this belief that ultimately what had caused our decline as a people wasn't weapons of any sort or physical power as much as it was meme pathogens. It was basically like psychological spells that caused us to turn our own most powerful weapons against ourselves. And I keep coming back to that. And Prometheus Rising, to me, when I read that, I mean, here's this book that is like, it's like Tolkien, but it's even more poetic than Tolkien. Like the prose is like even another level up from Robert E. Howard. You know, it's just delicious prose. And I mean, I had to bust out my Google dictionary as I'm reading this thing. You know, I think I learned like 50 new words. Redolence is one that pops to mind. You know, like I had to look these up as I'm reading it, but I still like, I just voraciously devoured this book. And to me, and I don't mean this as a cut against Christians, but to me, like as a former Christian, it was like kind of what I always wanted from Christianity, you know? And I say that as a person who's been involved with various churches as a musician. And I mean, it goes pretty deep with me. I studied like biblical Hebrew for about a year. I've read multiple Bibles all the way through, catechisms. I've gone super deep into Christianity, and I ended up deciding it wasn't for me. But I still have a definite love of that aesthetic. And the, you know, like we have a pretty big cathedral where I'm at, and I love the architecture, you know, hearing the choir, the Gregorian chant, the all these things, the organ music, the polyphony, the stained glass, the sculptures. It's glorious. And it just, now that I've read Prometheus Rising, and I've read Go Free, I've also read Born Guilty, I really have this appreciation that all that glorious stuff that I really loved about Christianity came from our biospirit, which is kind of what we're talking about today. And to me, the whole Prometheus Rising, I mean, yeah, you wrote it, Jason. you are the man. It is really a masterpiece. But also, I think it goes deeper than that. I think that I think you had some help from the biospirit of Western kind, the spirit of the West. And you know, when I read it, I was like, damn, you know, I want to be a part of this. This is epic. This is life changing. This has the potential to shatter the chains that are holding our people down, and that are, you know, there's so many great metaphors in the book about the mask that Prometheus wears, and then he takes it off and he throws it and it shatters, and it frees him of guilt, and then he gains his strength back and he's able to resist the you know, the tyranny of Gorthang and Zushin. And it was really a powerful message, and I'm really looking forward to the last few songs too, because it only gets better as the book goes through. There's the king who, you know, he makes the great sacrifice, and there's the I thought it was awesome how Prometheus defeated Gorthang and how he defeated Zushin in the book. And yeah, I just, you know, when I read it, I was like, damn, I wish I would have written this, you know, because I just, I have that kind of a creative mind, and I've been kicking around different story ideas in my own head for years. And I happened to find your book, and I was like, yes, this is it. This is what our people need. And I'm going to be a part of this. And hey, guess what? This would be an awesome metal concept album. And the thing is, I wanted to do, you know, when I was a Christian, I wanted to do things like I'm doing now for White Wellbeing for the church. I felt called to use whatever my gifts are, or, you know, abilities or skills. I felt called to use that for something greater than myself. And it's really strange how it's worked out. It's like destiny, because for years I felt really deprived, because when I tried to do this kind of stuff for the church, the clergy kind of turned their noses up at me. And they kind of like, they had this attitude where, no, you know, what you really need to do is you need to grow up and get a real job, and you need to give up on this silly music thing that you've got going, and just become like a good worker drone, become a suffering servant and carry your cross. And I mean, I understand where that fits in. You know, you can't be too selfish or you won't care about your own people. So I understand that there's a good side to that too. But at the time, it really was hard for me to hear. And I just felt like, you know, why would the Lord give me something like this intense desire to make music and the ability to do it if he didn't intend for me to use it somehow? So and I feel like I've found a place to do that. Whereas before, you know, I was really having a hard time finding where I could fit in with this. I mean, it's hard enough today, like trying to be an independent metal musician. And then once you decide that you don't hate your own people anymore, it's even harder to find a place where you can express yourself and not be deplatformed or depersoned or made homeless. I mean, we live in some really, really difficult times. And I keep seeing, you know, people, our guys, people that are, you know, like what happened to Red Ice with their banks and whatnot. I mean, my heart just goes out to all of our people that are struggling against this system that, you know, like the Mamas and the Pepes got kicked off of a certain music platform that I won't mention. And they're not even, I mean, I told you the kind of stuff I was listening to. You know, they're nowhere near that. These people are like nice, sweet people. Our buddy Jeff got kicked off. Dude is a nice, sweet man, like just a loving, compassionate dude. And there's others too, you know, that have more people than I can mention that have been persecuted for not screaming loudly enough, like in 1984 when they have that 3 minutes of hate or whatever. That's they have to scream against you know, the enemy of the system. It's really terrible what we're facing right now. But I don't know. Prometheus Rising gave me a lot of hope, and I figured if I make a metal concept album about this, it will bring hope to other metalheads like me.
That's absolutely beautiful, brother. Somebody absolutely has to take everything that Luke just said, clip that out, and then make that available, because there's so much there. And I think just beginning at what he said toward the end, and it was, I mean, he started off, I guess, at the beginning, I'll just say, talking about the lyricism in Prometheus Rising. Everything he just said, though, was so beautiful, so from the heart, so meaningful. And I could not appreciate you and what you had to say more. You just talked about how Prometheus Rising, and this is how true community works, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, digital community is as real as face-to-face community. And the naysayers who say that it isn't are making a big mistake. We just had Luke Mason say Prometheus Rising gave him hope. And right before, moments before, Luke, you said that, Damon Scott wrote in the live chat that Luke gives me hope. So Prometheus Rising gave Luke Mason hope, and we would have never known each other. And now Luke Mason gives Damon Scott hope, who would have never known each other. This is the real deal. This is what we are really making happen digitally and in our real lives. And remember, this is something that's so very important. Your real value, ladies and gentlemen, who you are and what you are, your identity, is not in what you do during the day to get some of those dollars, whatever your currency is called, that you then exchange for things you want and need. That's not who you are. You're like Superman. You have a Clark Kent day and then a Superman night, or a Batman, or whatever characters that they're doing something heroic when they're not out in regular society being a regular person. Luke has gone through this magnificent maturing evolution, and it really should be a tale for so many folks who decide, as we talk about, where that first moment is so pure in their hearts, where they decide, I want to give myself, I want to sacrifice my time, my talents, I want to provide that to try to help my people. That is the most heroic thing that a person can do, especially for Western kind in this age, because the whole of the world, the anti-whites, control the nodes of power, and they have the ability to tell the entire world that you are something other than you are. So that's a beautiful thing. But then so many of us end up heading down the path. And Luke was, the path of being the antagonist in the anti-white narrative. And Luke was so eager to make a difference in the world for himself, his family, our people, and therefore circling back to his family and himself, that he rushed down that road. He skipped all of those. He just told you right now, he just skipped a bunch of the steps and was like, I'm going to go straight to what I think is the end goal, the end objective, what it has to look like and what it has to be. And then realized that to varying degrees at time, that wait a second, maybe he was being had by these anti-whites. Maybe what he was doing was actually not very constructive. Maybe it was more destructive. And maybe also, I dare say, that you couldn't really tap into all of those, that reservoir of talent that you have as well as you can now, because just as you were saying and paying me that marvelous compliment, that I was tapping in to the spirit of the West that is in every single one of us. As I was writing Prometheus Rising, the only way you're going to tap, and you can hear this in Luke's music, the only way you're going to tap into it is if you're going at it through the purest love, hope, and redemption that we bring in service to white well-being, which means that we're going to protect our people against every aggressor. We don't need to focus on any particular this or that, because we're going to stand shield over shield, spear over spear against anyone who's going to come hurt our people, our most vulnerable members. And all of these steps, something Luke was talking about there. He says he wishes that he could be, and he wrote this to me early on. I remember you writing this, brother, that he says, I wish I had written Prometheus Rising. It was something that I knew we needed. It'd be something like that. And in the whole time, after I started listening to Luke's music, I'm thinking, I wish I could sing and play music like that. I wish I could do any of that. I could wear a guitar. That's about it.
I wish I could draw like Groundhog, and that dude is supremely talented. And while I have the chance, I just got to sing his praises a little bit, if you would allow me.
Please go for it.
A lot of people I've kind of reached out to and told that about some of the struggles I've been going through recently, and let's see. There's been a few people who have really helped me get through it. One of them is you. With your emails back to me. I know that you're super busy and it takes a while sometimes to get to them, but you have never failed to get back to me. Groundhog has been like a mentor, to me. And I've been kind of trying to get into art and stuff too, and the dude has been like really helpful, like trying to help me navigate how to incorporate some more visual art and stuff into my projects and whatnot. And he's like my mentor and my buddy too. He's just a really sweet dude, and working with him on this project has been like the greatest honor. It's been pretty fantastic. So the dude has he's kind of helped me like select which kind of like deciding whether to go to art school or whether to like do online school, for instance. A lot of different like questions you have. I'm kind of in a state right now where I can't really devote a lot of time to that, unfortunately. But the cool thing about it, like you were just mentioning, I wish I could make music like that, or I wish I could write that book, and I wish I could draw like Groundhog. Well, the cool thing is that when we all team up, we don't have to be each other. The spirit of the West, it's like it gains this kind of like synergistic power, not the power that's preceded by the word white. It gains this synergistic power when we all team up. I see it a lot in the White Art Collective. I mean, they're just growing by leaps and bounds as all these people, these really talented and creative musicians and artists and filmmakers and poets like Nolus. That dude, he is a giant among poets, in my opinion. We have these incredibly talented people, and we've really got something special going here with this, the white positive sphere, the white well-being community, the White Art Collective, the Promethean, the Promethean collective, however you would, the biospirit force. I don't know. I could think of a million different things to call it, but it's really amazing. It's like the Legion of Prometheus or something, But yeah, it's really cool. I can really sense the spirit of the West working through all of us, and especially when we're able to collaborate. I really enjoyed Hyrith streamed one of her albums recently, and I'm not big into soft music. I'm not really into that stuff, but she really impressed me, the quality of her music. And then she had all these collaborations with, like, I've heard Nolus on her stuff, I've heard Fornol on her stuff, and she even had Emily Eucas on one of her songs actually singing. And I mean, just incredible talent. And a lot of these dudes are so incredibly talented too. Like Fornol, the dude does music, he does like video game animation stuff. He introduced me to Dungeon Synth, which that's what I listen to now when I do my kung fu. It's like the perfect meditative Promethean kind of sounds that I want to hear while I'm kicking ass, you know. But yeah, I just it gives me so much joy to be able to have this community. It's like it's healed the wound that was left by, you know, when I figured out that, you know, the church that I was part of was just kind of part of the global how can I say it, the Gorthang collective. And you know, because you can judge a tree by its fruits, you know. So when I kind of figured that out, and I figured out that I didn't really have a place there, it left a huge wound, and now I have a place. And not only is the wound healed, those scars are glorious and kicking ass, you know. So yeah, I'm feeling better than ever, man. And I so thank you for writing that book, for like putting up with all my drama as I'm writing you these crazy emails. You know, I've been through some dark times, man. You know, and it's not really my family's fault per se. You know, my wife, when I married her, I was like a blue-pilled normie NPC kind of dude that just happened to like rock guitar a lot. You know, I was not the same person that I am now. So she kind of got the raw end of the deal. You know, she thought she was marrying someone who was going to be cool with all of her mixed in-law family members and such. And, you know, I don't have anything against those people, but I want to keep it Promethean. I want my kids to keep it Promethean. I want our folk to succeed and to prosper and flourish. And that can't happen under the regime that we're under now. And we have to figure out smart ways, Promethean strategies of resisting that. And, you know, even the sad part is, even when I had backpedaled and I was like, okay, I won't be like the hardcore wignat, dangerous, scary dude. I'm going Promethean. I'm going full Promethean so hard. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. She was, you know, unless I'm going to be like pro system, you know, pro Gorthang, pro Zushin, it's not enough, sadly. And, you know, I'm kind of an agnostic. You know, I've been through some different. I used to change my religion with every book I read. I'm just super high in openness, but I'm more of agnostic than anything. But I tell you what, man, if I were to get into a religion, Dave Martell, man, that guy has some really cool research and work that he is doing with Asatru and Odinism and whatnot. And yeah, some of the things that dude has told me have really fascinated me. So I'm kind of kicking around the idea of, once I finish Prometheus, the Legend of Prometheus album that goes along with Prometheus Rising, I'm kicking around the idea of picking Dave's brain a little bit, you know, maybe seeing if I could do like an album about some of the Asatru lore and whatnot, maybe tell some of those stories too. I think anything that helps strengthen us as a, pardon me, that coffee was good. Strengthen us as a people, you know, I think that's what I want to be a part of. That's what I want to put my energies into until it's time for me to, you know, go see Prometheus. So,
brother, that was, folks, this is one of the purest voices and honest, right from the heart voices that you will hear anywhere, all over the internet. This is a normal guy with extraordinary talent and extraordinary character and willpower, who faced struggles and will continue to face struggles, and has stumbled like we stumble, and has climbed back to his feet, has headed a bit of a wrong direction, but then has righted the course. This is all that you can ask or expect from a man, and he has done it in spades. And we are so very proud of you, brother. I'm a letter that he wrote for me to read to everybody, because everyone knows that Groundhog lives on top of the highest mountain in the highest point of planet Earth. So he can't actually appear, but he can send a letter via a trained harpy eagle, which has delivered his eagle to me, his letter to me. But he came out of nowhere as though Prometheus himself, if you will, we'll keep going with that, reached out to him. I had an artist that was doing the cover of Prometheus Rising, and he's a professional. He's not in our sphere, but he's a white guy. He's a good guy. I expected it to be perfect, and he started showing me things that were very far. So I don't know from what I was looking for. So I don't know if he had decided to undermine the project on purpose or whatever it was, but I mentioned that I needed some assistance on the cover, and it was like magic. Groundhog Fury arrived. He could not be easier to work with, and I've had to work with a lot of artists, and he could not have been easier to work with. Everything I asked for, he did better than I even asked for it. And then he came up with ideas where I asked for his ideas. He gave splendid ones, and then he also gave recommendations where I didn't even know to ask questions. And he did those, executed those perfectly. He has taught himself other pieces of software in order to perform better in service to White Wellbeing. Another genuine, true champion, a great hero, giving of himself, taking time away from where he makes with what he does a good living, and taking time away from that, setting that aside, and coming and doing this for our people, service to White Wellbeing, because of how meaningful it is to him. And I want everybody just to reflect on the fact that here you have 3 white guys, and we have come together. And this video, which we will be playing in just a moment after I read from Groundhog Fury, we'll get a few more words from Luke on maybe some of the activities behind the magic, how we get from not like a full breakdown for like the full musician crowd, but kind of an idea of like, how does that kind of come together? And after we hear the song, and you are going to be blown away by the music and the videography. So I'm going to go ahead and read this now from letter from Groundhog Fury, who wants you all to know. He writes this: I remember the first time I read Prometheus Rising. Embedded in the tome of Born Guilty was the mysterious story that stood out from the rest of the book. The sudden jumps from the real-world subjects and into the mythical universe of gods and their cosmic scale affairs seemed out of place to me. Many times I found myself feeling impatient, eager to get through those passages and get to the exciting parts, like the drama of Crucible, or descriptions of me getting fed bacon for breakfast. When I read the first few chapters of Prometheus Rising, I failed to grasp its importance. By the time I got to the last chapter, my mindset was turned on its head. I no longer read the book for half an hour before going to sleep. I would devour it for hours at a time. The story of Prometheus and his children almost bringing me to tears. I understood that this was something universal, a story that I would reread for years to come. I remember the first time I heard Imminent rain. Over a year ago, I started hearing news. There was talk of an artist who took it upon himself the task of retelling the story of Prometheus through the medium of music. I didn't immediately investigate. I would get around to it someday. When I finally did, I was kicking myself for not doing it sooner. He was already working on Song 3. I was blown away by the quality of the music, which instantly became my constant companion. I used it as a workout fuel. I sang it in the shower. The fact that a talented musician decided to spend his time and effort on producing such works made me even more convinced of the importance of Prometheus Rising. I also began to feel great shame. Here was this amazing musician putting his skill to work, spending his time and energy to spread the story of Prometheus Rising, his hard-earned expertise in playing instruments, singing, and music production, while I sat on the sidelines, watched, listened, and did nothing at all. I remember the first pen strokes I put down to depict Prometheus. It was a day like many others. I had my day's work planned, some task to depict something, or rather, I can't even remember what, in order to earn some money. I couldn't concentrate on it. My head was bursting with images that could accompany the first song of Imminent Rain's album, Creation and the Birth of the Gods. I tried to work for some time, but there was no point in fighting it. I had to put my mercenary work away and put those ideas down. The piece that you now know as Fire and Cosmic Clay was started that day. I put together some other sketches and the structure for the music video that I wanted to make to send to Imminent Rain and ask for his opinion and permission. A whole year has passed since then, and I still haven't finished that video. Only a couple of days after I started working on it, I heard Jason's call for artists to work on the standalone edition of Prometheus Rising. The timing was eerie. I scrambled to make accounts on the platforms needed to contact you, Jason, and things started escalating quickly from that point in time. The mysterious musician became a friend I write to on the regular, and I now got to collaborate with him. The video for his magnificent new songs started as only one piece, the depiction of the battle at Fallow's Gate, but it deserved so much more. I could not stop at that. I wish I could give that song all the visuals it truly deserves, but I could only give a month before I had to get back to mercenary work to pay the bills. Imminent Rain deserves a whole band, a tour bus, the biggest venues, and a whole movie studio to make a music video for his song. Unfortunately, I'm just a guy with a computer. The music video for Creation and the Birth of the Gods is still a work in progress. I chase it like an elusive rabbit, always so far away. Some things that need doing for it, I don't know how to do yet. Others, I can't find enough time for. But I'm happy, because as I chase this elusive goal, I leave a trail of completed projects behind. Projects I am so glad I got to be a part of, all the while growing as an artist, learning new skills as I hit my limits. I was too late to do the cover for Born Guilty. I can't play an instrument like Luke Mason, For Null, Jared George, Richard Wagner, and other musicians. I don't have the courage to step in front of a congregation and teach people about going free in real life like Yiz, the ability to start a school like Brant Danger, make FAQ videos, bring great insights into our discourse, nor the dedication to bring going free into the comment sections of all the platforms online like many of our heroes do. But as they do their deeds, I will do what I can to the best of my ability and use what skills and strengths I have to do my part. My hope is that I can help bring people to Prometheus Rising through visual art. Maybe those who struggle with those first chapters, like I did, might be more inclined to read on when they see some drawings that show what lies ahead. There will be newcomers who, as newcomers do, will look around and judge us based on the kind of art we produce. Perhaps the things they see will nudge them to pick up Prometheus Rising, and as a result, will be able to find the treasures contained within. I hope you enjoy the video as much as I enjoyed making it. I know you will enjoy the music. I listened to it 100 times while working on the video and still can't seem to get enough of it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Groundhog Fury's letter to us. Another humble, brilliant, true gentleman of the West. And we will listen to and watch that magnificent song and videography. And then we will be back with Luke Mason in just a moment.
In a distant bog dwelt the Serene, where Seren governed from his throne. There did they gorge themselves upon forbidden flesh, while earthbound serpents feasted on their bones. For Seren had seen in the land Prometheus make war. Kings in the ocean is plenty-fight. Good things and he words couldn't sway his iron mind. Defeat Darinsky wouldn't take. Now it's the end of Dionysus. From the plains of Salosgate marched a wicked horde. Death and ruin dealt by the armies of the road. While his warriors fought for the honor of his name, dragons on knees and blade met with conflict. The wildling kingdom slew them as they fled that winter's night. The wise among the Serene did survive the fight. Those who still pursued their lust were slain in feral greed. Torn apart and fingered by monsters of the sea. Countless winged predators descended from the sky. Enemies were shredded to the sound of beating drums. Substitution of pilgrims slowly closing in. The wall of heaven imminent and Groundhog was shaken as horror stirred the skies. All who saw each other, they fled and hid their eyes. So the darkling caverns, Prometheans made haste. Faced with utter ruin and no more time to wait. Warriors of Prometheus strove above the clouds, battled in the heavens with demons fierce and proud. Skyborn fires of conflict burned in wrath of flame. Fire from heaven spread the ground. Oceans burned and trees were drowned. Words cannot describe the sound. Earth consumed by flames. It was never the same.
Broken and rent was the world, so that naught remained as it was intended. Oceans were held while others were drained, mountains were raised while others were toppled, and lands were cast while others were drowned. Mortal, putrid corpses of the dead and dying lowered in the fluid to feel the force of the world, and met in pools of baneful waters, beckoned to the thirsty with kisses of death. So arduous were the cavernous roads that each company believed that they were likely the only survivors. For this reason, each took to itself a leader. And some of these would become the remote sires of the great kings and kingdoms that would spread themselves throughout the land, a chronicle of triumph and grandeur.
All throughout the ages of their wanderings, tales of gods and monsters they inspired. Conquering the other tribes,